Starting with the most important chapter of physiology, that is blood. Starting with the definition, so it is a specialized connective tissue in fluid form. It is considered fluid of life. Why it is known as fluid of life? Because it carries oxygen from the lung to all the parts of the body and takes away carbon dioxide from all the parts of the body to the lungs. It is also known as fluid of growth because it carries nutritive substance from the digestive system and hormones from the endocrine glands to all the parts of the body. Now, it is also known as fluid of health because it protects the body against a disease and get rid of unwanted substance and waste product by transporting them to the excretory organs like kidney. Starting with the first property, that is color. So blood is red in color. The arterial blood is scarlet red because it contains more of oxygen, and the venous blood, it contains more of carbon dioxide, so it appears purple red in color. Second is volume. So average volume of blood in normal adult is 5 liter. In a newborn baby, the volume is 450 ml. It increases during the growth and reaches 5 liter at the time of puberty. In female, it is slightly less and about 4.5 liter. It is about 8% of the body weight in a normal young healthy adult weighing about 70 kg. Now the third property of blood is reaction and the pH. So the blood is slightly alkaline and its pH is 7.4, that too in the normal condition. Then the fourth property is specific gravity of total blood is 1.052 to 1.061. Then specific gravity of blood cell, that is 1.092 to 1.101. And the specific gravity of plasma is 1.022 to 1.026. And the last property of the blood is viscosity. So the blood is 5 times more viscous than the water. It is mainly due to the red blood cells and the plasma protein. Composition of blood. Blood contains the blood cells, which are called form elements, and the liquid portion is known as plasma. Now in the first diagram, you could see a test tube which is the whole blood. Now when this whole blood is centrifuged, it depicts the second test tube, that is the RBCs will settle down. Above them there is a white thin line which mainly constitute the WBC and the platelets, and above them is the plasma, yellow in color. Now the plasma, it mainly divides into 3 parts, that is solid, water and gases. Now the solid is 7 to 8%, the water is 92 to 93%, and gases. Now solid is divided into mainly 2 parts, that is organic substance and inorganic substance. Organic substance include plasma protein, amino acids, carbohydrate, fats, internal secretion and enzyme, whereas inorganic substance include sodium, calcium, potassium, magnesium, bicarbonate, etc. Gases mainly constitute of 3 things, that is oxygen, carbon dioxide and nitrogen. Now the blood cells, they are mainly divided into 3 main parts. First is RBCs, that is red blood cells. It is also known as erythrocyte. Second is white blood cells, that is WBCs, that are also known as leukocyte. And last is platelets, that are also known as thrombocytes. See, now the WBCs, they are divided into 2 parts, that is granulocytes and agranulocytes. Now the granulocytes are those cells which includes granules. For example, see, granulocytes are mainly eosinophil, basophil and neutrophil. See the diagram, you can see that the eosinophil, basophil and neutrophil, it consists of many granules. So they are considered as granulocytes. Whereas the lymphocyte and monocyte, They lack granules, so that is the reason they are known as agranulocytes. Now the platelets and thrombocytes, they are mainly helping in the process of clotting, and they prevent the further bleeding. Plasma. So plasma is a straw colored clear liquid part of the blood. It contains 91% to 92% of water and 8 to 9% of solid. The solid are organic and inorganic substances that you could see in that flow chart which was shown previously. Serum. Serum is the clear straw colored fluid that oozes from the blood. When the blood is shed or collected in a container, it clots. In this process, the fibrinogen is converted into fibrin, and the blood cells are trapped in this fibrin, forming the blood clot. After about 45 minutes, the serum oozes out of the blood clot. Difference between plasma and serum. So plasma, it is a transparent straw colored liquid portion of the blood, whereas serum, it is an undiluted fluid, the extracellular portion of the blood. Plasma is composed of serum and clotting factor, and serum, it is a part of the blood which lacks the clotting factor. What is the clotting factor? It is fibrinogen. Third point, plasma is acquired after centrifuging the blood with anticoagulant, whereas serum is acquired after centrifuging of the coagulated blood. Fourth, plasma contains fibrinogen, whereas serum, it lacks fibrinogen. Fifth point, anticoagulant is required to obtain plasma for the blood sample, whereas in serum, anticoagulant is not required to separate the serum from the blood sample. So this figure is very simple. The first test tube, it shows the whole blood. Now when this whole blood is centrifuged with anticoagulant, so then it will depict the second test tube, that firstly the RBCs will settle at the bottom, then there is a white line which mainly consists of the white blood cells and the platelets, and the above portion is called the plasma. Now again, when this whole blood cell, that is the first test tube, is centrifuged without anticoagulant, then it depicts the third test tube, that is the blood will clot at the bottom and the serum will ooze out, that is the upper portion. The upper yellow portion of the third test tube is the serum produced. So starting with the first function, that is nutritive function. Nutritive substances like glucose, amino acids, lipids and vitamins, they are derived from the digested food, are absorbed from the GIT, and they are carried by the blood to different parts of the body for the growth and production of energy. Second, respiratory function. Transport of respiratory gases is done by the blood. The blood carries the oxygen from the alveoli of the lung to different tissues of the body, and in return, it takes away the carbon dioxide from the tissues of the body to the alveoli. Third function, excretory function. Now the waste products formed in the tissue during the various metabolic activities, they are removed by the blood and carried to the excretory organs like kidney, skin, liver, etc. for excretion. Fourth point, transport of hormone and enzymes. Hormone which are secreted by ductless, that is endocrine glands, they release directly into the blood. Now the blood transports these hormones to their target organs or tissues. Blood also transports enzymes. Fifth point, regulation of water balance. Water content of the body is freely interchangeable with interstitial fluid. This helps in the regulation of water content of the body. Sixth point, regulation of acid-base balance. plasma protein and hemoglobin, it acts as a buffer and helps in the process of regulation of acid-base balance. 7th, because of high specific heat of blood, it is responsible for maintaining thermoregulatory mechanism in the body, that is the balance between the heat loss and heat gain of the body. Now what is specific heat? So it is the heat required to raise the temperature of the body 1 degree, that is to raise the temperature of an equal mass of water 1 degree. Eighth function, that is storage function. The water and some important substances like protein, glucose, sodium and potassium, they are constantly required by the tissue. Now the blood serves as the ready-made source for this substance, and this substance are taken from the blood during the conditions like starvation, fluid loss, electrolyte loss, etc. Now the last function is the defensive function. Now the blood plays an important role in the defense of the body. The white blood cells are responsible for these functions. First, neutrophil and monocytes, they engulf the bacteria by phagocytosis. Second, lymphocytes are involved in the development of the immunity. And last, eosinophils are responsible for detoxification, disintegration and removal of the foreign protein.